Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tera Vanachare Jamuna Tera Vanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajakacharya Shodhara Tata Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajakacharya Shodhara Tata Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Shri Vrindavan Dhama Ki Shri Navadvip Dhama Ki Shri Jagannath Puri Ki Ganga Mai Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Tulasi Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki All glories to the Assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the Assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the Assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Vishnu Padaya, Vishnu Prishtaya, Bhakti Vedanta Swami. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're continuing to read the remembrance of Krishna. This is Canto 3, Chapter 2. This canto is entitled The Status Quo. And we're looking at text number 25 today. Remembrance of Krishna. This is Krishna Smarana. One of the things we should do in devotional service, remember Krishna. Vasudevasya Devakyam Jato Bojendra Bandhane Chikirshur Bhagavan Asyaha Sham Ajena Biyachitaha Vasudevasya Devakyam Jato Bhojendra Bandhane Chikirsur Bhagavan Asya Sam Ajena Biyachitaha Vasudevasya Devakyam Jato Bhojendra Bandhane Chikisur Bhagavan Asya Sam Ajena Biyachitaha Vasudevasya Devakyam Jato Bhojendra Bandhane Chikirsur Bhagavan Asya Samajena Biyachitaha Vasudevasya Devakyam Bhojendra Bandhane Chikitsur Bhagavan Asya Samajena Vasudevasya Devakyam Jato Bhojendra Bandhane Chikirsur Bhagavanasya Samajena Biyachita Vasudevasya Devakyam Jato Bhojendra Bandhane Chikitsur Bhagavanasya Samajena Biyachita Vasudevasya Devakyam Jato Bhojendra Bandhane Chikitsur Bhagavanasya Samajena Biyachita Vasudevasya Devakyam Jato Bhojendra Bandhane Chikishur Bhagavanasya Samajena Biyachitaha Vasudevasya Devakyam Jato Bhojendra Bandhane Chikirsur Bhagavanasya Samajena Biyachitaha. Mataji, would you like to try? Okay. Word for word. Vasudevasya, of the wife of Vasudeva. Devakyam, in the womb of Devaki. Jataha, born of. Bhoja Indriya, in the king of the king of the Bhojas. Bandhane, in the prison house. Chikirsuhu, for doing. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Asyaha, of the earth. Some, welfare. Ajena, by Brahma. Abhiyachitaha, being prayed for. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, being prayed to by Brahma to bring welfare to the earth, was begotten by Vasudeva in the womb of his wife Devaki, in the prison of the king of Bhoja. Purport. Although there is no difference between the Lord's pastimes of appearance and disappearance, the devotees of the Lord do not generally discuss the subject matter of his disappearance. Vidura inquired indirectly from Uddhava about the incident of the Lord's disappearance by asking him to relate Krishna Katha, or topics on the history of Lord Krishna. Thus Uddhava began the topics from the very beginning of his appearance as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki in the prison of Kamsa, the king of Bhojas, as at Mathura. The Lord has no business in this world, but when he is so requested by devotees like Brahma, he descends on the earth for the welfare of the entire universe. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.8. Pavitranaya sadhunam vinasaya chaduskritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Om Aghyardamirandasya Vinanjana Salakaya Chachurul Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadhamayam Dati Swapadantikam Bande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yutapata Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sabetam Sabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakana Vitamshcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Yocha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Veda Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Vaisheshikata Sarikari Namne Nama Praharshaya Shivaya Prabhupada Anusaline Anitita Tasme Shastra Bhajana Chodane Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Sunyamadi Paschatali Satari Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangunanahite Girim Yakripatam Hamande Shri Guru Nirataranam Krishna Swadam Pagate Dhamma Gyandi Bisa Kalana Sanjisamisa Puranako Dunoditaha Vasudevasya Devakyam Jato Bhojayinda Bandhane Chikishur Bhagavan Nasya Sam Ajena Vyachitaha. The personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, being prayed to by Brahma to bring welfare to the earth, was begotten by Vasudeva in the womb of his wife Devaki in the prison of the king of Bhoja. So we're continuing to hear this discussion on topics of Krishna from Uddhava to Vidura. It's very appropriate as we have Janmashtami right around the corner and Lord Balaram's appearance just a couple days away. That we're hearing today's verse in particularly about Krishna's appearance. And we've been hearing in previous verses about his different activities. This is Krishna Smarana. This is what devotees are asked to do. It's one of the processes of devotional service. Shauram Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, and Krishna Smaranam. Remembering Krishna. So every page of the Bhagavatam, practically speaking, and in the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada writes in the introduction, it's a very interesting point. He says that on every page you'll find Krishna. And he was particularly referring to the actual Bhagavad Gita as it is. On every page, Krishna is there. He said, but the Mayavadis will try to hide Krishna. It's just, that manifest has taken form as Krishna, as the form of Krishna speaking these things. But no, Prabhupada made it very clear that Krishna himself was here. Krishna himself came, and Krishna himself spoke the Bhagavad Gita. So in that sense, this is how Krishna is on every page, because Krishna is speaking the Gita. And practically, I haven't looked, but I'm sure if you do some research, in every purport, you'll probably find Krishna's name mentioned in some way or other by Srila Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada was such a pure devotee of Krishna. Mahatmanas amparta daivim prakriti ashrita. That their devotees are protected by the divine energy of Krishna. And they're constantly engaged in chanting about Krishna and speaking about Krishna. So as Prabhupada dictated these purports, and as he wrote these purports, he was just fully absorbed in Krishna and giving that to the world. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is full of Krishna Katha also. We have stories about Krishna, we have pastimes of Krishna, we have Krishna's devotees performing different activities, we have Krishna's devotees speaking about Krishna, as we're hearing now. And as Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita, what we're supposed to do is remember Krishna. Think of Krishna. Offer our respects to Krishna. And then surely we will go to Krishna. He promises us. Manmana bhavama bhakto mahajaji manamaskuru mameva shashi yukta evam atmanama parayanaha. So Krishna says to Arjuna, just remember me, always think of me, offer your homage unto me. And in acting in this way, surely you will come to me. So this is the goal. The goal is we go back to Krishna. But we have to practice. That is what the sadhana is. That we practice thinking of Krishna. We practice engaging in Krishna's service. So therefore we can become engaged in Krishna. But we should always be searching after this absorption in service. This is what one's objective should be, is how to become absorbed in Krishna's service. And there's different ways to do that. And particularly here in this pastime that we are reading now, we see how Uddhava and Vidura are completely absorbed in Krishna Katha, speaking direct Krishna Katha. This is one of the ways you can become absorbed in Krishna. As mentioned, Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, Machitta makata prana bodhayantas parasparam katayantas chamam nityam tushanti cha ramanti cha. So the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service. And they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So here we see, Uddhava is practically going into trance, talking about Krishna. And the pure devotees, they enjoy this, speaking about Krishna, talking about Krishna's activities, and his attributes, his pastimes, his dham. So we see here, Uddhava is describing all these different things to Vidura, and they're deriving great joy, great bliss, great satisfaction. And one, just by reading these things, also derives that satisfaction. Yatma suprasiditi, actually the soul becomes satisfied by reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, by hearing about Krishna's activities and pastimes. But now one may say, I'm not Uddhava, and I'm not Vidura. And 24 hours a day, I'm thinking about so many other things. But actually, Prabhupada has given us another understanding as well, or a deeper, or an insight into this understanding of Krishna Katha, that the services that are being engaged in Krishna's temple are also Krishna Katha, because this is Krishna's temple, and things in connection with Krishna are also non-different than Krishna. So we see examples in this temple where it may not be, from one perspective, one may think, oh, that's not Krishna Katha. But it is. We see down there now in the kitchen, we may have Bhaktavatsal, Prabhu, and Jai Radhe, and Radha Krishna, and Bipin Bihari, and I think Natabar is down there also now. And they may be talking, cut this potato, pass me that masala, put X amount of ghee, give me this many cups of rice, put this many cups of water, turn the flame up this high. This is Krishna Katha, actually. Because we're cooking for Krishna, or they're cooking for Krishna. So because it is in relation to Krishna's service, and that Katha also becomes transcendental. And it becomes relishable. I mean, to myself, it's relishable because I like to eat. But this is also Krishna Katha. When Harivilas Prabhu and Sarupa Prabhu and Mukunda Ashraya are talking, we need this hammer, we need to buy this type of paint, we need this great sandpaper, we need this tool. When you see Chandra, table saw, cutting wood for Krishna, or cutting marble for placing in different places in Krishna's temple. This is Krishna Katha. When you hear Shobha Mai asking, what would be the dress today? What color will Govinda wear? When they're thinking about how to make the garlands, this is Krishna Katha. When Ram Roy Prabhu and Natabar are discussing, where should the Harinam be? Or we can't go here today because, the train is not working. This is Krishna Katha, because they're thinking about how can we engage in Krishna's service? How can we glorify Krishna? So this is being absorbed in Krishna. And this is actually the business of the devotees. That is the mercy of the temple of Krishna. So this is Radha Govinda, they are the king and queen. And we are all their subjects. And we're here to engage in service to Radha Govinda. The temple isn't a place for being idle. The temple is a place we come to serve, to take advantage of this opportunity to engage in Krishna's service, which is our actual identity. We're servants of Krishna, but being covered over by illusion, by Maya, we want to be independent, or the tendency is there to want to be independent of Krishna. But the temple is a place where we can be properly situated and take advantage of that and do any little service that's there. Because this is not only, as is mentioned here in this verse, in the purport, Prabhupada says the Lord has no business in this world. But when He is so requested by devotees like Brahma, He descends on the earth for the welfare of the entire universe. So the manifestations of these temples are actually Krishna's mercy on us, on myself, on the conditioned souls, that we can come to a place where we can do activity that will be to our eternal benefit. Prabhupada writes in the Nectar of Instruction, the introduction, that the advancement in devotional service depends on the attitude of the performer. So one should do service with a nice service attitude, understanding what is actually going on. When we're doing the various services we're doing around the temple, this is direct service to Krishna. This is Krishna's temple. So what we're doing in the temple is directly being seen by Krishna and directly going to Krishna. Now, of course, we have the proper channels of authority, but whatever service is done in the temple, in Krishna's temple, is to the eternal benefit of the performer. My Guru Maharaj, His Grace Vaisheshwara, mentions that one of the attitudes or one of the outlooks one should have is ABS, always better service. It's not the brake system, but ABS, always better service. So one should always be very careful to see, whatever little service we're doing, that things are done nicely. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 18th chapter, 57th verse, Prabhupada writes that after something is done whimsically, that should not be offered to Krishna. So we should be very attentive. One should be very attentive in performing the service and thinking, this is Krishna's temple. Washing the floor, this is Krishna's floor. We're taking out books. We think these are Krishna's books. This is not different than Krishna. So we be careful how we treat them. And we should probably respect the books. We should probably honor everything within the temple. And then the attitude also is that we're not looking to do business with Krishna. That I'll do this and I should get this in return. No, but the attitude should be selfless service. Ahetukir patiyata, which means unmotivated and uninterrupted. We should leave our motivations elsewhere and come here just for serving Krishna. One shouldn't look for any name, fame, distinction, adoration. Now, the tendency is there that even while performing the services, one may look for some recognition. But we should just think. We should think, okay, even if no one is looking, I'll act nicely. I'll act proper. But actually, Krishna is always looking. In the 6th canto of the Bhagavatam, in one verse it describes that actually we're never alone. Because we're always being looked over by all the demigods, by Krishna within the heart, by all the directions, the air, the water, the fire. We're always being watched. So therefore, developing this proper attitude and proper action is essential for our advancement in Krishna consciousness. Because in the eyes, when people are looking at us, when devotees are looking, we may act all proper, but what are we doing when no one's looking? When no one's looking, we should be ready to do any service also. We should be thinking, how can I serve? How can I serve? How can I serve? And the second part here of this purport, Prabhupada writes that Krishna descends for the welfare of the entire universe. And this is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha duskritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. And the verse that comes after this says, Bahunam jhamanamante jnanamam prapadyante bhasudeva savamiti. No, that's Janma karma chame divyam evam yovidita tataha twaktan deham punarjamam naiti mameti sorjuna. So Krishna states that one who understands my birth and activities does not have to take birth again in this material world, but comes to me, comes to my abode, O Arjuna. So this is the other point, that we should understand, or one should understand to whom this service is being done. This service that we're doing, or these activities that we're doing in the temple, are being done to Krishna. are being done for Krishna. And that is why Prabhupada went through so much trouble to produce these literatures, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna book, to give us an opportunity to understand who is Krishna. Because we should understand also who is the person we are serving. Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So, this point of not of acting in the proper line, of authority, because we can be doing activity, but to who is that being offered? Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavatam, in one place, that before or when we perform some activity, we should be checking in with our authority. Checking in with authority. And of course, when a devotee becomes sufficiently mature, then he's internalized this understanding of, is this being done for Krishna, or is this being done out of trying to satisfy my own sense gratification. So that's why in the initial stages of devotional service, or even up to the topmost, Shastra are always there. This is the tripod for which we stand on. We have our Guru, we have the Shastras, and we have the sadhus around us, who we can always check in with. Always check in what we're doing, how we're doing it, what should we be doing. These are all things that we should constantly be checking in to make sure that we're on the path. It said that spiritual life is like a razor's edge. So anytime we can slip and cut ourselves, or at any moment we can go away. But if we're properly sheltered on the Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, and always understanding what we should be doing, then that is a safe position. Actually, being a servant is a safe position. Taking shelter is a safe position. Taking shelter of the sadhus, taking shelter of our Guru, taking shelter of the scriptures, this is a safe position. It is not weak, it is a strong position. One may feel sometimes that, how can this person tell me what to do? But actually, when we have the proper people to tell us what to do, that is actually the greatest blessing that we have. Where we can go to the sadhus, we can go to our Guru. What should I do? How can I engage in Krishna service? And they specifically tell us directly, you should do like this. We should be so happy. The mind, this is our one's foolish mind and intelligence coming up with so many schemes for sense gratification can be combated by the transcendental knowledge emanating from the authorities. Every morning we sing Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koryaika. So we want to make the words of the spiritual master one with our heart. So yeah, taking shelter of the authorities. And then we'll probably and then Prabhupada makes the point that the Bhagavad Gita is Vedic intelligence. So by reading these books, by reading Bhagavad Gita, reading the Bhagavatam, we properly develop our intelligence and we know how to utilize our time. And in understanding that Krishna comes again and again, Paritanaya sadhunam vinashayata duskitam dharma samstar panartaya sambhavami yuge yuge, to establish the principles of religion. In this age, Krishna has come as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sumedha proper intelligence. So the proper intelligence that's been given in this age, or the method that's been given, is this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Krishnam Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parsadam Yagyai Sanketane Parayaya Yantihi Sumedha Saha. So we can use our God-given intelligence properly by engaging in the Sankirtan movement. And as much as possible, engage in the direct performance of Harinam Sankirtan or in supporting roles. Because it's a movement. And the movement, a whole army needs a lot of moving parts. Our army needs cooks, our army needs mechanics, our army needs generals, our army needs soldiers. So everyone has an important part to play in the Sankirtan army, in the Sankirtan mission. So, in whatever position we are, one should own that position, take responsibility, and try their level best. And in this way, push on forward this Sankirtan movement and giving those that are not as fortunate a chance to also become fortunate. Brahmanda Bhamrite Kona Bhagyavana Jiva. We want to make the whole world Bhagyavan. We want to make everyone fortunate. So by going out, doing public Harinam Sankirtan and book distribution, inviting people back to the temple where they can come and hear about Krishna, where they can come and take Krishna Prasadam and also become fortunate. Prabhupada says that if a soul takes, if a jiva takes Krishna Prasadam, that in the next life they'll take a human birth. How big? That's huge. That's huge. So even they may not take up the process of Krishna consciousness in this life, at least they'll get another opportunity. That they won't have to go into the 8,400,000 species again and again in its circle of birth, death, disease, and old age. But they'll have an opportunity to come out. So this is the mercy of the devotees. This is the mercy of Krishna, that He's manifested this Sankirtan movement. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come and his general, Srila Prabhupada, has started this ISKCON movement. And we as members can participate in this the greatest welfare work. So we have festivals coming up, and every day we have an opportunity, another chance, a fresh day, to give ourselves Krishna consciousness and to give Krishna consciousness to others. So let's do our level best, chant Hare Krishna, perform devotional service, great enthusiasm, and in this way make bounds and leaps and steps towards that ultimate goal of life, going back to Godhead, being back to Krishna in the spiritual world. So I'll end the class here. Are there any questions, comments, reflections? Prabhu, anything?
Lord Bhishma Dev passing before Lord Krishna, 9th chapter, 1st canto, 32nd verse. Let me now invest my thinking, feeling, and willing, which were so long engaged in different subjects and occupational duties, in the all-powerful Lord, Sri Krishna. Section of the translation and a little bit of the purport. Because Bhishma Dev was a statesman, the head of the Kuru dynasty, a great general and a leader of Kshatriyas, his mind was strewn over so many subjects, and his thinking, feeling, and willing were engaged in different manners. Now, in order to achieve pure devotional service, he wanted to invest all powers of thinking, feeling, and willing entirely in the Supreme Being, Lord Krishna.
Yeah, so as much as possible, we take to the direct remembrance of Krishna. But also we have the great blessing of Srila Prabhupada that we can also take headache for actually Prabhupada writes in the Nectar of Instruction that an Uttama Arikari is always thinking on how to expand the Krishna consciousness movement. So we can also tax our brains on ways to more and more attract people to come to Krishna. Okay. Anything else? No. All right, so we're in there. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaurapramanandi, Manchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhyayavacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.